Good morning. Ooh. It's my birthday in a few days' time. Dun, da, 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 da. And I'm turning 32. So I am firmly in the 30s. I can't say I just entered the 30s. I can't be like, now I can say things like, oh, when I was in my 20s, because it was that long ago. The 30s is a trip. It is much more pleasant than people would have you believe. Like before I turned 30, people acted like 30 was like, oh, 30. But being here is so nice. Like I like it here. You have a lot more money than you've ever had in your life. And I'm not saying you're balling, but you're definitely not the broke 20 something you were when you were in varsity, for one. You are a much more healed version of yourself if you're doing life right, if you're doing the responsible thing and healing yourself. You're a lot more aware of your triggers, you're a lot more aware of your toxicities, and if you are a responsible human being, you're actively working on it. You're more self aware. I mean, definitely the best part is having more money than you've ever had before. Like not being broke like you were when you were in varsity, scraping together 100 rand to go out for the night. That is 100% the best part of being in the 30s. Definitely. Being a fully fledged grown up comes with its own challenges. And some of those challenges are self imposed, like expectations. What kind of expectations? Well, expectations like married by 30. So I think when it comes to marriage, I've always felt like getting married has always been a great source of validation for women. It's always been a measure of a woman's worth in society, even though we say that it's not, even though we say, oh, it's okay to be single. There's definitely an element of judgment and negative curiosity about a woman who is of a certain age, who isn't married yet or isn't in a serious relationship leading to marriage. I've experienced that personally, where people will ask you why you're single, but there's an undertone of what's wrong with you. What are you doing wrong? You're doing something wrong. And so I honestly feel that, even in this day and age, we still associate marriage for a woman with her value in society. That idea of, getting taken off the shelf before it's too late. After a certain age, your value as a woman decreases as you lose your youth and your fertility and your beauty and your physicality. And so you need to catch a man before all of that goes away. And so maybe that's also where this married by 30 comes from. In the past as well, there was an element of practicality to getting married. For a lot of women, you couldn't work. You couldn't support yourself. As a woman, you were a homemaker, and a man went out and, brought home the bacon. So you, as a female, needed to get married for the purposes of being taken care of in a very practical sense. You needed a provider, you needed a protector. And so being an unmarried woman left you very vulnerable. In this modern day, as women are working and they are able to support themselves and they're able to contribute financially to the home, I think marriage is now more a source of validation than anything else. It's just to show people that even me, I can get a ring, even me. Now, I understand that there's also a biological element to being married by a certain age. And for women, if you want to have children, the very real reality that we are faced with is that you only have a certain amount of time to achieve that. At some point, your eggs are going to be coughing up dust. And so that after a certain age, having children becomes dangerous, it becomes difficult. And so for the sake of fertility, people want to get married younger so that they can have children in the context of a marriage and do it, the respectable way. So is there any value in being married for modern women? You know what? When I was younger, I think my perception of marriage was that it was kind of burdensome. I definitely viewed it as an inevitability. Like I assumed I would get married. I grew up around married people. I just assumed it was something I was going to experience in my lifetime. But at the same time, I know that I had like negative connotations associated with it. Like I viewed it as very burdensome for women because I viewed my aunts and my mom doing a lot of the housework, a lot of the child rearing, while also pushing careers. And so I remember feeling like, sure, being married is like having a husband is like having another child. And so I think I have a lot more of a balanced view on marriage, having witnessed people my own age being married for a few years now. And I think that there's a very real desire to be partnered, to share your life with somebody, to build a family with somebody. I think it's a very noble and honorable experience, life experience. But I think it's a huge decision that comes with a lot of responsibility, and you have to choose well. And your choice can't be based on a time frame, because that is actually very arbitrary. You can't say, I want to be married by 30. You need to say, I want to marry a particular type of person. And you need to be on the lookout for a particular type of character. And that requires you to know yourself. The more self-aware you are, the better you are at choosing, the better you will be at choosing a partner. And the better partner you will be, which will help you with longevity. I believe that, a life of faith for me is a life that is about trusting God's timing. And so I really believe that marriage is a matter of destiny. I think who you marry is intrinsically tied to your purpose and who you're supposed to be and what your impact is supposed to be in this world. And so you don't just marry somebody, you find a partner in purpose. And all of that is according to God's timing. It's not based on your own timing. And I know that that is very difficult to accept. It's a difficult thing to digest. If God knows what he's lining up to ensure that when you guys come together, your purpose is fulfilled, like as individuals and as a unit. And so I think that I just want to encourage people who are struggling with not having met this expectation when they thought they would, and they're struggling with maybe loneliness or judgment or just fear that it's never going to happen. Denzel Washington said something that I really like, that I've held on to. He was talking to young actors, and he said, the desire that you have to achieve something is evidence that God has already given it to you. And all that remains for you is to meet the moment. The moment will come. You don't know when, but it will come. And your job is to stay ready, stay prepared, get prepared, be in faith, pray, have a prayer life. Because God will be able to download areas in your heart that need to be healed to prepare you for marriage. God will download characteristics about your future husband and how to interact with him. And I truly believe all of this. And so I think you need to have a prayer life. I think you need to pray about it. And I'm speaking to women because I am a woman. And I think this thing of being married by 30 it's far too much pressure. Or being married by a certain age in general. It's far too much pressure. It's not on you. You don't get to make that type of decision. You need to pray about it if you're a praying person, and you need to ask God to help you wait with peace and to give you insight about your future marriage and your future spouse. And don't put this type of crazy pressure on yourself about achieving certain things by a certain age. It's just too much. It's not necessary. Life is hard enough as it is. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. Salute. I don't know how to end these things. I just never know how to end these things. Bye, guys.